Welcome back to the AnKorage where everything is awesome, and today we get to set this up. This here used to be a Minecraft server, so the first thing that needs to be done is, for the sake of not having to do it every single time and such, as far as finding it in your network, is you need to set up your Pi with a static IP, basically an address on your network. Now, home routers have what's called a DHCP server, so it's a dynamic address that's provided to everything that's connected to it with an address every single time that something is turned on and connects to the router. What we want to do is we want to assign an address to it so that every time it turns on, it goes to the same address. And you're going to need you will need the MAC address for this. So in Windows, the way to find that is you go into the command prompt or terminal or something like that, and you punch in ipconfig, and you will get your current IP. Of course, you'll also get your MAC address. Now, the MAC address is a series of numbers with colons in between. That's what you want, and you have to go into your router to assign a static IP, and you can find what you need there. Basically, when we set up the Pi initially, the host name of it is Raspberry. So you want to go into your LAN, or as far as statistics go, you want to see what's currently connected, find Raspberry, and you can more than likely get the current IP and the MAC address from it. So what you want to do is take the MAC address and actually assign an address to it. It's different for every manufacturer of routers, so I can't go into, hey, on this one do this, blah 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 blah. That's just too many. This would be so long for that, and plus I don't know those things. So you have to look up your particular router, go into your router, log into your router, and make those changes. So what we are going to do is we are actually going to do the setup of this on there. So you want to have your Pi, you want to have your storage medium, and you want to plug it in. I'm just using the stick for the sake of this demonstration. You want to plug in your storage medium, hard drive, whatever, your hard drive, and we will get started on that. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need is we're going to need to SSH into the Raspberry Pi. Now, with Windows users, you can use the command line, also the terminal, like Windows 10 or 11. But the best way, especially for the sake of this video, because I can make it larger, so it's easier to read, is we're going to use an application that's specifically used to SSH into these units, and it's called Putty, Putty. And what you want to do is go out to get it. You can do a search for Putty through your web browser, through your search engine, and it's out on Softonic. So I want to show you what it looks like. So we are going to transition to that, and this is the page out on Softonic. And what you want to do is you can actually download it from right here. This free download available from Softonic servers. Download has started, and they want to show notifications. Going to block that. But you just save it, and you double click the installer and you install it. So that is essentially that. And then I'll show you in a moment what that's going to be looking like. We are going to cut back here. Let me get rid of you. Get the camera back. And we transition. And there I am. That's me using OBS to do my transitions and view different things on that I've got running. But anyways, so what you want to do is download Putty, install it, and then this is where that static IP comes into play, because you need the address in order to log in. Now I'll show you that in just a moment here. Okay, once you have that installed, you fire it up and you are brought into the actual login. Now this is where you need to know the address, the static address that you assigned it in your router. So what you want to do is 192.168.1. So you plug that in there and you click on open, and we transition to that, and it transitions into this. So you get that login page will cut off, and this one pops up. So you want to log in as Pi, P-I, and you want to throw in the password. And there we go. We are now logged into the Raspberry Pi using the address that you assigned to it. And don't worry about it tells you what your last login is. It goes, this one says let's log in, blah blah blah. From .116 or whatever, but that's not the address that we've actually assigned it. So what we want to do at this point is we actually want to start actually putting in our commands to actually get started on setting this up as our file server. Alright, so what we want to start doing here is we actually want to start the process. So what we want to do first is you want to update all of the packages, in other words the software, in the Raspberry Pi. So to get started with that, you type in sudo apt update, and it's going to go in and actually start running this. So we're going to give this a moment and we'll see what's going on with that. Okay, it's run everything, and it's checked all of the repositories, or where all the software is held, and it says that 25 packages can be upgraded. Now that's just me here right now. So what we want to do is we want to punch in, we want to update all that software. So sudo apt upgrade, like that. And it checks everything and it says, okay, do you want to continue? Yes. Or you can do a lowercase y, or you can just hit enter. And it will actually start going through and installing all of those. So we're going to let that finish real quick. Okay, so that's finished. So what we want to do at this point is move on to the next step. And what we were going to do next is we're going to install Samba. And now what Samba is that it's a package or a program that allows file sharing. So what we are going to do is we are going to do a sudo apt install Samba, if I can spell it right. Make sure that's right, and it is. It just throws all that, and do you want to continue? Yes. So we're going to let that go, and then it's going to install your file sharing program. We're going to let that do its thing. Alright, so Samba is installed. So now what we want to do is we want to mount a storage device. This will be where we tell it to mount the actual storage medium. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to be punching lsblk, if I can spell that right. lsblk, and what this will do is display all of the different storage mediums that are currently attached to the Pi. And what we're looking to see to make sure that we have is the hard drive that you have for your Pi, and it's under, it should be like SDA, and then this one here, I can see that mine is actually SDA, and then you see the lower that right underneath it, SDA1, so it's there. So at that point, what we want to do is we want to make a directory. So we do a sudo mkdir, and what that mkdir means is make directory. And then we punch in mnt media, just like that. Done. Okay, so now we have to edit what's called fstab with the following command, which is sudo nano /etc/fstab. Now, nano is actually the name of a text editing piece of software or package, and we just entered the directory path for it. Get rid of that N because I misspelled it. Using this keyboard, I don't do a lot of typing on, so it's a little fluky. So we do sudo nano /etc/fstab, and you can see it's got a bunch of stuff on here. Now these are the different addresses of for different drives. So what we have to do is we have to type one in, which is our SDA one. So we have to come down and we do a we have to put in the location, so it's your /dev/SDA1. Then we have to kind of make some of this stuff up here too. So what we have to do is we do space over, we try to line it up as best as you can, and you put in the mount address, so the mnt/media, and then over here we have to plug in the the file type that we're going to be doing. Actually, I'm going to come over here, and we are going to punch in the file type. So just going to punch in NTFS, because that's a file format that can be used for Windows and also for Linux. But we're just going to use that as that. Then we come over here, we punch in defaults, and then we punch in a 0. Come over here, we punch in another 0. Alright, so that is done. So what we need to do is we need to exit and write at the same time, as we can see. So you do a Control X, and it'll ask you if you want to save the modified buffer, and you want to hit Y for yes. Now that buffer happens just to be the memory, the current memory of everything. So you hit yes, and file name to write, and it's already got the file name there, so you just hit enter, and it makes the save, and it backs you out, and you're out of it, and you're done. So from that point, you have to mount that actual partition. So you have to do a sudo mount, and then you're going to mount that actual partition, mnt/media, like that. Alrighty, so that's where that is coming in. So I have to go back. Okay, so I just had to back up for a second, take a quick look. So you want to actually mount that drive with sudo mount and then the address to that, the path to that directory essentially. So you do mount /mnt/media with a capital M, of course. So you do that. And of course here on mine it says it's denied because the volume is already exclusively opened. And so I actually went and I actually took a look, and you can actually see if it's actually mounted by punching in this command here, which I have no idea what it says or means. But it's df-h, and you get a listing of all of everything that's mounted. And if you look way down at the bottom, you got dev sta1. So that's already mounted. So that is good. So that's what you want to see. So at this point, we have to change the owner of that path, mnt/media, over to pi. And this is a funky, let's see, I'm actually copying it right now from, there we go. So you want to do a sudo chown dash capital R little f pi :pi, and then the actual path to it. Now I don't know the actual definitions of each individual thing here, so we just kind of basically copy and paste it, type this in, and boom, goes to and gives you another carriage return, brings you back to that, and there it is. So now what we have to do is edit the Samba configuration of this actual thing right here, which is sudo nano etc samba b. Now here's a caveat to that. There is no samba b. There's Samba, but there's no Samba B. But you want the smb.conf. Now that means Samba.conf means configuration. So, and you know, here's where you get to see that little error regarding the Samba B. You know, it's like it's completely blank. There's nothing there. So you have to take out that B, and there it is. So what we need to do in here is, this is where we actually need, this is nano by the way, just so you know, we need to actually go down and we need to put in, you know, tell Samba this, hey, this is here and this is where we actually need to plug it all in. So we want to basically go right down to the end. La 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 la. Alright, we'll just put it right here. So what we want to do is we want to put bracket pi nas close bracket. You see how the color changes. And then we want to put in a comment. Okay. And you know, this, you can basically put whatever you want here. So this is a Raspberry Pi NAS server. It's just a comment. So we go to this next line and we want to tell it, is it browsable? If I can spell it. Oh my word. Let's see, is there an E or is there not? There is. So you want to type that. It says browsable space equals space. So that's how it looks. So you have to put a space on either side of these equal signs. So you want to now put the path in there. And this is the path to mount media. So we go /mnt/media. Ta-da! Get that out of the way. and we want to tell it is writable. Let's verify that. Yep. And then you want to, this is called create mask. What? Of course, I'm trying to use the number keys on the right hand side, and it is just doing weird stuff. So get out of that. So you want to punch in create mask equals 0777. I don't know what the masks are or these values, but this is what I'm using. If I can get down to it. Alright. Okay, so now we need a directory mask of 777. So then we want to make sure it is the directory browsable. So you say that again. Not a dash, an equal. Make sure that's spelled right. Okay. And now we want to say that it is a public. This will allow you to actually somewhat access it. You know, be able to get into it. And that's yes. So we want to have this here. You want to make sure that all of this is typed in. So we want to save it. So you do Control X, save the buffer. Yes, save this file. Hit enter, and that is done. Sorry for all that confusion there. So what we have to do now is we have to make the existing Pi user a Samba user, and also set a password for the Samba user. So what we would have to do is we plug in this right here, sudo smb passwd, that means Samba password. That's /a, I don't know, but it's for the user Pi. So now the new Samba password. So this, you put this down, you'll be asked to verify it. You want to make a record of it. And once that's done, it's added the user of Pi. So at this point, you want to reboot it. So punch in sudo reboot now. Now, generally when you do like a reboot, it'll reboot on its next compute cycle run. But if you don't want to wait for it, you just want to go ahead and do it, that's where you punch in the now for. And that's done. So I will be right back. Okay, so we've basically done all of the configuration. That is the complete configuration. There's not much involved, especially if you've done it like 3-4 times. Me, I've done about 6 or 7 trying to get this, my 2 servers actually working, because of the little issues that I had along the way. But that's essentially it. So now we must connect to the Pi. So, okay, we are there. Let me get back to that. There we are. Get that moved out of the way. Okay, so what we have to do is we need to check the IP address. It's of the server. So if you have a static IP, like you should have done, then you want that IP address. But if you haven't quite done that, then what you can do is you can punch in IP A, and this will actually give you that information. What you're looking for, if I can see where it is, it's right here. Don't mind that /24, but you want the actual part here on that's highlighted right here. So now from your Windows computer, what you want to do is you want to actually map a network drive. Now this is a benefit on that actual thing. So we are going to punch that in just a moment, because I actually have to set it up for OBS. So I'll be right back on that. And of course I did that off camera. So yeah, so here we go. So what we want to do at that point is we want to go into File Explorer. This is the Windows version. So we want to transition over to that. And so from here we need to map a network drive. So this is so that you can actually get it all the time. It can be listed down in here. You can see I've got it all down here. There's mine, Aurora. So what we need to do is we need to map an actual new one. So we come down to network and we do a right click on that, and we come down to map network drive. And I need to see if that's actually there. And it's not. So I'm going to fix that real quick. If I can get back to this, I'll fix it. And we've got that. So now we can actually pull that up. And this is what will pop up. Not necessarily this size, but you'll get this pop up. And then we actually start to actually plug in everything here. So you want to pick the drive letter. So you can pick anything you got down here. So I'm just going to pick Q. So, and then we need to plug in the address for it. If I can find it here. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to plug in the actual address to it. So you want to do // and then the IP address that you grabbed earlier, 192, and then another // and then PNAS, because that's what you identified it as in that configuration file, and the SMB CONF and such. So what you want to do is that you want to reconnect its sign-in. So basically when you start the computer, you want it to reconnect. And we do want to connect using different credentials. And on Windows 10, what will happen is that it'll probably throw another pop-up to say, you need to log in your Pi credentials. You want to put in the password of that Samba user. And when it's all done, this is how it comes back out, and it just brings you right to it. It throws the actual thing on there, and we'll show that in just a moment. Yeah, once it's all done, what it'll do is that it'll actually bring that all up, and you'll actually be brought into it. As we can see right here, of course, I've got I've got it as it'll actually display as the name of the of it, and of course this is what I had named it, RA17GFN3 NAS, and there's the Q right there. And if you look down here, it's listing right there. And now we can go in and you are all set up. You can actually come in here and you can actually create files. This is just like at this point it's just like another like that. You know, it's being a file server. You can actually come in here, and now it's just another place to go. So that's essentially it, I believe. So if I go back to the camera so you can see my beautiful face, here I am. So there we go. That is setting up a file server using a Raspberry Pi. Now, it's a very basic, simple one. Some of the instructions that you may find out there will be for RAID. Now the R in RAID means redundant. And what that basically requires is that, you know, if you've got a hard drive, you're going to need another hard drive so that all the information that is saved to it is saved in both places. It's saved on both drives. Or if you have more drives, you know, the more drives you have, the more copies you're going to have. You know, and this is just a simple, basic file server for a Raspberry Pi where you only have one place to keep it. So if you can back it up to another location, do that. That's another reason why you don't want it to be too big. You know, so it's like if you want to save very large files or whatnot, you actually want to keep additional drives and save copies separately to those drives, and not necessarily have a network attached storage such as this. But this is really it's convenient. It's a nice way to have something that's there all the time, and not really necessarily have to worry about it so much. So and with that, the instructions I used, and I'll have a link to those instructions down below. And it's very simple. It's basically copy and paste of those instructions, because you saw I did paste a few, because I grabbed them from those instructions for the demonstration. So you can actually use those to actually make your configuration for your Raspberry Pi. But that's basically it. And at that point, this series is more or less complete, and that was me being awesome, sorta, with my little quirks here and there, but whatever. Knock that around. I am gonna have one bonus video, and that is, now that all of that is done, how do we maintain it? Well, you know, with Windows and, you know, all the updates and how it just likes to throw them in there and stuff like that. And in Linux, you update when you feel like it. It'll have it all set up and such like that. But, you know, what I'm going to do in the bonus video is, you know, how do we maintain it? How do we update it? And you know, and a couple of neat little things to actually you know, see a couple of fun things, like how long has it been up? You know, if you've had it turned on for X amount of time and you just haven't remembered how long it's been up, you know, do that. You know, we will actually, I'll show you how to view the temperature, and this is all using the command line. And then we'll actually, you know, run updates, and we'll actually, you know, we'll refresh the repositories, and we'll install updates. So there'll be a little bit of a bonus. So thank you very much. We will talk to you next time.